completely happy with myself, but unfortunately, a lot of people in my family are not. Here's the truth about me. I have been disowned. No one wants anything to do with me. They describe me like I'm trash. I feel like my family never gave me a chance. After 6 years of begging for validation and love and acceptance, I have to come here to the fact that I'm not going to get it.
Oh hey, welcome back to my second channel. I'm normally Blaire White. Today I'm Blaire Black. Make sure you subscribe to both. And oh so fitting, I'm drinking my morning black coffee while we talk. And listen, we need to talk. Those of you that follow me on Twitter and Instagram, which you should, please do, you would know that I filmed for the Dr. Phil show back in, I believe, August, because it was right before I moved to Texas, like literally a week or so. And ever since then, my entire following has been asking me daily, like my DMs, my comments are just full of people asking, where's the Dr. Phil episode? When is it airing? What time? What time zone? When is it coming on? Blaire, where is it? And I have been wondering where it is as well. But spoiler alert, me on the Dr. Phil show is never going to air. It is locked in a vault and it will never see the light of day. And the only bit of it that you will see is going to be the small amount of footage I filmed while in studio that will go in this video. I'll put it in eventually. So yes, I got a call from the producers of the show who let me know that it was not going to be airing. And I'll tell you the reason. But first, the purpose of this video is just to tell you guys what happened on stage, what happened in the episode, and why it's not coming out. First of all, I have to say that when they called and told me it wasn't going to be airing, it was a relief because even though directly after filming, I was very excited, like the posts I made were like, coming soon, gonna be super cool, make sure you tune in. The further I got away from the experience and the longer amount of time that passed, where I was just kind of waiting for it to come out, I had this anxiety and I realized that it was just a lot, and I'm actually really glad it didn't air because some embarrassing things happened and it was just really personal what we talked about on stage. The reason why it's not going to air, I was told, and I think this is BS, and this is where I have to call BS and drag, not necessarily Dr. Phil, because I don't know how much he really played in the decision, but the producers and the show itself, they told me it was legal reasons why they couldn't air me on the show, because in the episode I was discussing people who weren't present on stage. The people I was discussing were my family, because the topic of the show was actually about my personal life and my family and the side of my family that has disowned me for being trans. And the entire goal of it was kind of trying to reconnect the family, which is a lot, and I could not even believe I was a part of it. But basically they said that because I had family members that did not show up and they were still discussed, that they were not going to air it because it would put them in legal trouble for talking about people who weren't there. And again, I think this is just bullshit because I've watched enough of the Dr. Phil show to know that there are people on that show all the time talking about people who aren't on stage with them. Like there are people talking about experiences and people and things all the time. I'm thinking that, this is just me speculating, I have no way of knowing this for sure. I think that it's possible that, you know, they filmed with me and then they kind of looked into more of who I was, and maybe because I'm not necessarily daytime television friendly, they decided it wasn't going to be a good thing to air me. I think it's possible that they disagreed with me politically and that was maybe a motivator. This is just me speculating. I don't know. All I'm left to is my own, you know, wonderings and speculation about what it is. I think I didn't give them the politically correct sound bites they necessarily needed because, you know, they asked me certain questions about pronouns and trans sports and this kind of stuff where I definitely obviously diverge from maybe the normal trans guests that they have. So these are just my thoughts going into it. I don't know. For all I know, I could have had like a nip slip on stage for the entire episode that no one caught, and that's the real reason. But then again, I think they would have told me that, so I don't know. I mean, either way, it's kind of trifling. Honestly, even though I had that sigh of relief that it's not airing, I also am highly annoyed that they kind of came into my life, disrupted my family, myself, by talking to my family members, talking to me, like, and honestly, I'm a little grossed out that even though I'm relieved in a way it didn't air because everything was so personal on stage. And I did cry on stage, by the way. Dr. Phil made me cry. What a joke. I am a little better that they came to me to do this. They disrupted my life, wasted my time, contacted my family, opened wounds with my family that didn't necessarily need to be opened if they weren't gonna actually air it and give us help and whatever. Like, you're contacting my grandmother who has disowned me for being trans and opening up all these wounds for her and myself, and then you don't even follow through with the project. Like, that to me was gross. I don't know if this is something that's routine, that they film episodes or segments that they never air. I'm not sure. So the way this all even came to be was, if you remember a few years ago, I made, at this point, a very cringy emotional video where I talked about my family who had disowned me for being trans. So this video got a lot of views, attention, and they had originally hit me up when I posted it, wanting to do an episode, reuniting my family. I said no, and then they hit me up multiple times throughout the years. And basically, this time they kind of wore me down, I guess. And I kind of had the logic of like, if this helps other people who are going through similar things, through broken families or whatever, then maybe it would be worth it. And originally it was just gonna be me talking about trans shit, talking about rejection from family, all that kind of stuff. And then slowly the idea kind of morphed from them wanting to do just me and then contacting my family, which was a line that I wasn't necessarily comfortable with. But through many conversations with the producers, they really tugged at my heartstrings, I feel, and kind of opened me up to the possibility of having a reunion with my family, even if it was as psycho as happening on the Dr. Phil show. I thought, you know what, if this is the thing that opens up dialogue between me and my broken family, if this is the thing that gets us in the same room and talks about our problems, then it's psycho, but like, let's do it. The actual experience on stage was good, minus crying. At the end, I definitely teared up because Dr. Phil was so kind, and that's why I don't want this video to be me bashing him. I think this is more so the show. I have no way of knowing how much control he even has over the show. I mean, it's his name, it's his brand, but there's a lot of moving parts. When you're in the studio, there is at least 100 people in there. Wardrobe, stylists, producers, camera people, like there's just so many moving parts, right? So Dr. Phil himself was really lovely. His wife, Robin, was really lovely. I thought they were complete class acts. I have nothing negative to say about them as individuals. Unless Dr. Phil was the person who said we're not airing this, which in that case, we got beef. So I'm trying to remember everything that happened on stage so I can tell you guys, because obviously you'll never see it. The only way you'll get any idea of what happened is through me telling you. So I was talking about being trans. I was talking about my family rejecting me, my dad's side of the family. And Dr. Phil did this really intense speech on stage where he was speaking directly to the camera, directly to my family, who he at the time thought was going to be watching. And basically like really took up for me and said some really nice things. And that's when I cried, and that was the end of the show. And it was just a lot. The more I think about it, the more, like, you guys know, even though I do political and social commentary for a living, I also do personal videos. I talk about my personal life. I get personal, but this just felt so personal. Like crying on national television, talking about my family, getting into way more details than I was necessarily comfortable with. Like, I'm really glad it's not airing, I have to say. So I'm gonna insert what footage I do have of the show, pictures and stuff like that, because there was some time before I was going on stage. There was like the pathway of the stage, and there's a television where you could see my intro, like, you know, like the B-roll and the I'm Blaire, blah, 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 blah. That I do have some of, so I'll put that in here.
I'm completely happy with myself, but unfortunately, a lot of people in my family are not. Here's the truth about me. I have been disowned. No one wants anything to do with me. They describe me like I'm trash. I feel like my family never gave me a chance. After 6 years of begging for validation and love and acceptance, I have to come here to the fact that I'm not going to get it.
And one thing I did forget to say was that the producers, when they called to say it wasn't airing, said they wanted to film something else with me and they'd be in contact, but I don't really want to do that. I am so comfortable with being in the online space, doing YouTube, doing podcasts, doing stuff like that, that I don't know, the allure of daytime television, it was cool for the experience, but it's not really me. Unless the concept is just so cool that they come back with, if they come back and want to work with me again, I'm probably gonna say no. But I wouldn't do anything personal like that again, you know? So yeah, that was my Dr. Phil show experience. They probably cut me out because they disagree with my politics, probably because I'm not daytime friendly, but you know what? I don't wanna fucking be daytime friendly, so. I am fully comfortable being a loudmouth tranny on the internet. So sorry to everyone who is disappointed that this episode is not going to air. I'm glad I could at least show you what I could show you and tell you what I did tell you. Make sure you guys subscribe to this channel as well as my second channel. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.